What is going on, everybody? Carnage back here again, and today I am back with another review. This one being an interesting one, mostly because I didn't really plan on picking it up, if I am fully honest. But after seeing it in person, I did kind of switch up, you know, that really quick. But anyway, I got the Marvel Legends Gamerverse 2-pack, Silver Samurai, and Wolverine, mostly just because I kept hearing a lot of great things about the Wolverine. I do apologize, can't really move my camera, but very good side art, really do like it quite a bit. And there's the Silver Samurai one again, apologies. Very decent art, really cool, very retro looking. And then, the back, which kind of gives you like a little preview of everything on the back. And I do find it kind of funny that on the back of this, they put the exclusive one there with Thanos and Psylocke, but they don't do anything with the Captain America and Venom, which I think is kind of a little weird because, everyone can get, this one, that one, and the Captain America one, but not everyone can get the Psylocke and, Thanos one. So I thought that was just kind of a little weird. I know it says $64.99 on the bottom. I did not pay that for this. I got this with my store credit at the comic shop I work at, Gamerverse. But yeah, and like the Captain America one I reviewed, it does have that very cool retro background, which, I believe I went into depth on that with, the other video. But anyway, let's just get right into the figures. So, starting off, the one that, was kind of basically just a redo, just with slightly different, mold, the Silver Samurai. Now, I'm not going to say this is a bad figure, but legitimately, torso is the only thing really new about this. Everything else is the exact same as the original one that came out. Now, the one thing I will say I do like on this one compared to the old one, the shoulder pads, because, the bigger shoulder pads just work way better on this, but, compared to this one, like, this one just looks so much better. Like, I mean, they struck gold with the first one, in my opinion, so don't really know why, they had to, basically just give us a brand new sculpt for it. Didn't make a lot of sense. They could have legitimately just gave us, like, a new head on this one, in my opinion, and it would have been better. But not gonna, quite go into depth on that real quick. Just starting off with him, I'm gonna start with, one of the few accessories he came with. I do like his sword, though. I love the translucent blue. Looks so badass. Really do like that quite a bit. Really cool sword. And it is just a remold for, loads of other ones. It did come with this really cool accessory, too, which goes on the sword. How that goes on the sword still confuses me. I'm assuming it kind of, finagles its way, kind of like that. Which, I mean, still looks really badass. Really do like that quite a bit. Now, will I pose him with it? Probably not, but, still cool. And then for the last two accessories he came with this very cool shining star, which you can kind of see it reflecting right there on the wood. And then also this little tiny stand, which just plugs nicely into that little port right there, and then you can just kind of have it, chilling like this. Like, fully honest, I don't really care for any of the accessories in this pack. That was not the main reason why I wanted it. Main reason I wanted it was for, the Wolverine specifically. But, getting ahead of myself. So, going to the Silver Samurai, I will say, if you missed out on the first one, this one's definitely a very good, it's a decent one for, if you can't get the older one. Now, the one thing I will say I'm not a huge fan of, I don't like that the shoulder pads are just super easily removable. Like, I get they probably, did that just because, reasons. But, for me, I'm not a huge fan of it. Also not a huge fan of the torso. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks good, but, like, I'm not a huge fan of it, because, when they instantly, gave us this one, I thought this was super cool, because, it's an actual, like, samurai-looking outfit, so, and then, basically turning around and giving us whatever the hell this is, that was kind of a letdown. I do like the head sculpt, though, which, something I was very curious about when I saw this, because I'm assuming it's basically the same mold. And yeah, that does fit on the old body, so even if you have the old one but don't like the head, you can always put this one on. And I mean, this one is a little bit of a lighter shade, but still looks pretty awesome on it, and does match up fairly well. And another thing I don't like, these pop off kind of easily, so bit of a warning when you do that. Now, articulation wise, goes out like that far, and he can do a full 360, but you would have to take the shoulder pad off, which another reason I don't really like this. He can't really look up too much unless you really push it, but I'm not going to. And he looks down fairly well, and like I mentioned, older body, they basically just gave us a new torso, but the rest of it's basically just reuse. So pin joints on the arms, upper arm movement, double jointed elbow, and then wrist swivel, everything like that. Pretty basic. He does have that really cool torso swivel, which I mean also came with this one, and this one I think does it a little more, because this one bends pretty decent to the side compared to whoops. I do think, yeah, that looks about the same to me. So, I am mistaken. I mean, they both seem like they have the same, range of articulation. Upper calf. It does have a torso swivel. It is kind of blocked. Upper thigh cut. Kicks out pretty far. Kicks back. Okay. It does kind of get a little stopped by his skirt piece. Double jointed knees, which again, a little hard to maneuver just because of the metal skirt. Again, old joints, so pins, which I'm not against pins, but I can understand why a lot of people don't want them. He does have a boot swivel, which is pretty good. And then, ankle pivot. And, just because this is only like the second ever Silver Samurai Marvel Legend we've had, like, pretty good. You can't really improve on something that they already, went excessively good on the first time. And height-wise, they are about the same height. The Gamerverse one is a bit taller. So, I mean, there is that. This one does have a little more height, but I mean, is it really worth the extra, $5 this one was just for like an inch of height? Not in my opinion. I recommend, this one way more, just because it's even, like, it looks even more shinier than this one. This one's kind of like a flat, gray. This one's more of like a, shiny silver gray. And this one also came with 2 swords, which was awesome. This one only comes with the one, so. But, pretty decent, I'd say. I'd give it like, like if you don't have it, I recommend picking it up, but, if you have the old one, don't worry about getting this one. Now, let's get on to the main person that we've all been waiting for. And yes, I do mean my boy, Wolverine, one of the characters I enjoy the most out of Marvel. Pretty cool. He does come with some decent accessories. Like Silver Samurai, he comes with one of these stands, but he also comes with this, which I like how these kind of connect with each other. All you gotta do is just kind of line these little pegs up in the middle, kind of line it up with that line right there. Just takes a second and a little bit of pressure to push it on, but you do that. And then you have the X, which pretty cool. And I should mention this is a bit heavy, so if you wanted it kind of like that, it will kind of lean slash topple over. So you could use this second one and just have that in the other hole, because it does come with 2 holes, so they did think of that, which is pretty cool. And this looks pretty nice too. They didn't do just a flat plastic, they also did like a blue highlight right in the middle, which is really, really cool. Really do like these two. Like, and for customizers out there, you could probably like, you know, cut these up a little bit, and, you know, make like a custom Hulk Wolverine, if that's what you want to use these for, if you have, you know, no, you know, use for them for what they were originally made for. But anyway, going on to the Wolverine, I've been, you know, posing him around and playing with him for a few days. I did post something on my Instagram, so go check out my Instagram if you want to get a pic of that. Uncle_Carnage. Yeah, I occasionally post stuff on there, nothing super crazy. But articulation-wise, like, let me just say, this Wolverine does look up amazingly. Looks down even better. Like, that's just so cool. And the head sculpt, too. Like, I'm not a huge fan of, like, the big one. I truthfully prefer mine kind of small. Kind of like a brown suit Wolverine over here. If that'll focus. There we go. I prefer mine kind of a little small for the wing, but, you know, still pretty cool. Really good, like, muscle texture all over the body. Really do like that. The back, too, really, really cool. And, of course, have to have the little nubby nubs on the claws, which I love that they do that on every single Wolverine. And I should mention, they do even have wrinkles on the blue part of his shorts, which is also pretty cool. And the stripes are pretty good. The only thing I really noticed that was wrong was, like, one speck of yellow right there, but, I mean, that's basically covered by his arm, which, going on to the arm, like, I love the hair. Looks so good. Yeah. It does suck that he only has a single jointed elbow, but, you know, with, you know, what this guy does, I'm not going to complain. Now, going on to articulation, I already pointed out the head, you know, going up and down, but arm does do a full 360 even with the shoulder pad, and, you know, goes out to a little less than a right angle, and, you know, something cool that I saw, yeah, that, pretty cool. He does even have butterfly joints. I mean, they don't do a ton, like, I mean, they do, like, a decent amount, I'd say, but, you know, nothing super crazy. Upper arm movement, like I mentioned, single jointed elbow, and then, you know, that moves normally. Upper ball joint, lower ball joint, which, you know, he can swivel back and forth. The belt does move a little bit too, but, you know, I don't think it's really supposed to be meant to move. He kicks out that far. Kicks back a little far if you kind of move out his leg a little bit. And something that I didn't even try with the Silver Samurai because it would have been difficult, he does do kind of like the cross split a little bit. Upper calf cut, or not calf, thigh cut and double jointed knees. And then he does not have a boot swivel, but he does have ankle pivot, which always a great thing for every figure. Now, let me just go get a handful of, you know, Wolverines in my collection, and I'll just show you them. And before I forget, I did forget to show his claws. They are pretty good. Definitely one of the longer sets of claws, I will say. And, like, comparing them to the Juggernaut Wave one, like, I mean, they are decently bigger than his, which, I mean, works very well because he is kind of a beefier and broader figure. And, you know, just comparison wise, like, I mean, he is a bit bigger, like, bulkier wise, than, you know, like a normal Wolverine. And here he is next to the first appearance one, which is kind of in a closer costume. I don't remember where I put my Juggernaut Wave, or not Juggernaut Wave, Apocalypse Wave Wolverine, which looks the most like this, but it's basically just this one with, like, this color scheme, so it didn't make too much of a difference to me. But, I mean, as you can see, like, he is definitely beefier and bigger. And he's not even much taller. Like, he just looks way taller just because, you know, he's beefier, and also his little tiny, you know, wings on his head make him look even more huge. And, you know, like, this is still pretty good Wolverine. This one still my favorite, probably because it's you know, mostly nostalgia that makes me love him so much. But, you know, something the new one doesn't have that the old ones do, boot swivel. And I mean, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have a boot swivel, because that looks like a solid piece of plastic to me. And also with the fact I did try more than once, so even double, triple checked. And for the last, well, one of the last comparisons, here he is next to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, which, not my favorite, you know, MCU figure they've released. Pretty decent, but, you know, yeah, it's still just so cool that we got this costume in live action, man. Granted, this one does have sleeves, but I mean, you know, still very badass. Really, really cool. Yeah, especially with the Hugh Jackman head. Really like it. And then for the last comparison, let me just kind of, or I shouldn't even say the last comparison, but, you know, let me compare them both with, you know, the other Gamerverse figures that I've reviewed from this wave. And as you can see, they both do line up fairly well. He is a bit taller, but he is, you know, taller than Wolverine, so I mean, that's perfectly fine. And comparing them both next to the Gamerverse cap, Silver Samurai is a bit bigger, which, I mean, I don't know how big he's supposed to be, but he is a guy in a suit of armor, so I mean, it kind of makes sense. And, you know, Wolverine, like, I mean, height-wise, like, if you go from the top of his head to cap, it does line up pretty well. The wings on his head do make him look bigger, like I've mentioned. But, I mean, yeah, these two look very good next to each other. Really cool. Like I said, I don't really care for the Silver Samurai too much. I'm still going to keep it just because, you know, I might change my opinion at some point, but probably not. But yeah, I gotta say, this 2-pack, definitely worth it for the Wolverine, but if you can get the Wolverine by himself, highly, highly, highly recommend that. Very decent 2-pack. I'd give it, you know, a decent rating. Like, I'd say maybe like 7 out of 10. Mostly because, you know, did we really need a new Silver Samurai in a 2-pack? Probably not. They could have probably just, you know, re-released the old Retro Card Wave one, and, you know, everyone would have probably been like, oh, this is so sick. Me personally, But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what your thoughts are on this Wolverine if you have one. Or if you plan on getting it, tell me what you're the most excited about for this Wolverine. But yeah, not too much else to say about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.